to your Agenda programme. Lovely to have you listening. Please do keep your comments coming in. We love hearing from you. And, you know, I know what it's like out there at the moment. It's sort of hard to know where to place your brain. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to know how to feel. But we definitely, one thing that really has come through is the sort of the strength of the community here in the UAE. So one of the big sort of very, very noticeable impacts of the current conflict is on the fact that the children are at school. We are back doing distance learning, and that is a constant reminder, at least in my household, that things are not how they should be. So let's look at how schools in Dubai and the UAE are adapting to those recent developments. Students obviously definitely doing distance learning until March the 4th. So tomorrow they will definitely still be at home. We haven't heard yet about whether they go back to school on Thursday. Scheduled exams are either being adjusted or postponed as well. So how bad is the disruption? And our pupils, our parents, our teachers taking it all in their stride? Joining me now, Punit Vasu, CEO of the Indian High Group of Schools. They teach more than 15,000 pupils across 3 campuses. You've got a lot of souls under your care, Punit. How are you doing?
Absolutely. I mean, difficult times.
Yes.
Interesting times. There's been wonderful dialogue with the regulator, with the government of Dubai, in terms of how we moved to distance learning. So we had the better part of the weekend to activate our contingency plans. So that was quite good and effective.
Yeah.
And we all know what we know. Yeah, very decisive. And again, there's a lot of dialogue. It's not just one-way traffic. We are able to talk to the regulator, which is the KHDA, very, very forward-looking, and a lot of discussions happening on that front. Mm-hmm. And we also have a lot of discussions happening with the Central Board of Secondary Education, the CBSE, because as you're aware, it's time for the board examinations for grade 10 and for grade 12.
And there was some backwards and forwards on that on social media over the weekend, because initially they were postponed and then everyone was a bit like, no, that's fake news. And then about 3 or 4 hours later, there was official confirmation.
Correct. So they have been postponed. The exams, the board exams that were scheduled for Monday were postponed. And breaking news, we just heard right now that the exams that were due for Thursday and Friday have also been postponed. So again, it's very, very clear the regulator and the CBSE are putting the mental health and well-being of students as a priority.
Yeah, I mean, I'm finding it hard to buckle down and work. I can only imagine how teenagers are feeling. You know, they're supposed to be at home revising, but there's all sorts of stuff going on around them. Like, how can you focus in these circumstances? It must be so hard.
It is. It is very, very challenging. Our pastoral care teams and our counseling teams have been working overtime, as they should be. We are a community group of schools. We are here to serve the learning community, as is every other school. And tough times call for tough measures, and we should be there for the learning community. Yes, it is challenging. It's very difficult to understand what a learner is going through. I mean, you spoke about Her Excellency Reem Al Hashmi addressing the deafening sounds, actually being positive and actually being an interception, but spare a thought for a child. A learner who's taking an exam, and it's obviously not easy for us adults.
Yeah.
So certainly, no matter how resilient our children are, our learners are, they've been through COVID, they've been through a lot, but definitely, we completely agree with you that their mental well-being, their mental health, looking after anxiety levels, giving a high level of pastoral care is probably more important than asking them to be stressed about taking an exam. Because we have different formulas and different ways that we can calibrate in terms of giving a final score and a final mark. COVID has been a silver lining there. We have seen that as a precedent where we did different ways. We had different ways and different calibrations in terms of coming up with a final score. So that's not going to be an issue. So we've been reassuring our parents and our students, so don't worry, exams for now have been postponed.
So they could still happen if things calm down. They could happen as soon as in a fortnight, or they can be put on again.
Yeah, because we have a window.
Yeah.
We have a fair number of days. And again, the regulator is very, very supportive. It's not putting a dead stop in terms of when the school has to end and when the exams have to end. So again, because of that constant dialogue and the fact that we are blessed to have the CBSE office in Dubai, so there's, again, a lot of discussion that happens over there, and we get first-hand information like the one that I just shared with you right now.
For those people who don't know what these CBS exams are they like the equivalent of A-levels or GCSEs?
Correct. So you have the annual board exams for grade 10 and for grade 12. the equivalent to the GCSEs and the A levels. And again, these are run by the Central Board of Secondary Education in India, which is a national examination board that works very, very closely with the government of India. It's the largest examination, one of the largest examination boards in the world. Again, and obviously this region has been heavily impacted. The rest of the world seems fine. The exams are probably going on as usual.
I mean, there'll be question marks, won't there? Though that it's a difficult juggle because, you know, if your friend over in Delhi has just done the exam, then you're going to be like, so what was in it? You know, it's gonna cause a headache, isn't it?
Absolutely. Typically, the CBSE runs multiple versions for different regions. So
okay.
obviously, you know, looking at time zones, even though exams tend to take place at the same time, but obviously there are schools at different time zones. So the CBSE is quite clever in making sure that different versions of the exam papers. But again, right now, it's focusing on the mental health, mental well-being, making sure the support systems are in place. Like you rightly addressed, looking after people. Being there for the community. We have seen the leadership being very, very transparent in communicating what's happening out there. We had the leadership of KHDA being very, very transparent and communicating with us in terms of what are the steps that they are taking. CBSE, again, the leadership team over there. So again, the whole ecosystem has once again come together. And I think it's great, very decisive, like you said, in terms of going online, keeping people safe, keeping children and learners indoors, and making sure that they have access to learning. Rather than, you know, parents being very, very anxious.
Yeah, it's so difficult because I'm sitting here thinking, I just can't wait for the children to get back. But interestingly, say schools had been open today, I am not of a nervous temperament. I'm pretty keep calm and carry on. But say schools have been open today, I don't think I would have sent them. I think I still want them under my roof. And I think that's going to be the challenge when schools do reopen, whenever it might be. You know, you are going to have children and parents who aren't, you know, who are going to struggle to come back. You know, they're going to be more affected than others potentially, and who might not want to come back into school even when they do reopen. I mean, I suppose during COVID, you were already able to juggle those emotions and feelings because there was different temperaments over COVID as well. So do you think the juggle will be manageable?
So you have clear sense of directions and directives coming out from the leadership and the government of UAE.
Yeah. So if they say go back,
if they say go back, then
go back.
It's safe to go. We have seen how safe we are. We've seen so many messages by tourists and residents as to how safe they feel over here.
Yeah.
And you know, debunking theories that have been floating out there on whatever social media and saying this is, you know, don't go by what's out there, believe what we are seeing.
Yes.
In the sense that we are very, very safe. So I think the government has got that pretty much spot on in terms of unless it's safe for learners and educators and teaching and non-teaching staff. Again, the government is very, very clear. Even non-teaching staff and non-essential staff should, essential and non-essential staff need to stay at home. So very, very clear, very, very specific instructions. So I would imagine that unless the government and the regulatory authorities feel that it is safe. I mentioned Her Excellency Aisha Al Miran, again, very, very clear, very, very specific that, you know, learning has to go on. And for example, our school, when we had a situation where some of our learners and teachers did not have access to technology and laptops, we made sure that, again, we provided that because people were not prepared. You had parents who have traveled, some of them didn't have access to devices, and that happens with our school and the kind of socioeconomic segment that we cater to. And again, I mentioned earlier, we had the better part of the weekend to plan for this. And now we're looking to see what directives and instructions we get on Wednesday. The CBSE has already moved ahead and moved forward and said, well, no, we're going to postpone the exams for Thursday and Friday and then take a call depending on the situation in the region. So I think it's all working, it's all coming together. People have been very calm.
Very calm.
Extremely calm, law and order. Again, parents have been very supportive. Normally, Indian parents, I mean, we are an Indian school, so I'm not being stereotypical, but I'm Indian, and it can be quite anxious in terms of examination than as a parent should be, and get stressed. But this time, very, very supportive messages that we have received from parents saying they absolutely understand, and they know the examination board, the regulatory authorities, and the school together are going to make sure that it's only the best thing that we can work out for the students and learners. So no stress there.
I have to say, Punit, it's lovely to have you in the studio. Voice of reason, as always. And I think very much speaking for the community around us here. I think that I've seen very little panic. And whenever someone sort of does get ahead of themselves, there is that community there to help calm them down. So, Punit Vasu, thank you very much indeed for your time. Thank you for coming in with that breaking news story that those exams that were going to happen on Thursday and Friday will now also be postponed. We always appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Punit, CEO of the Indian High Group of Schools. They teach more than 15,000 pupils across the 3 campuses.